Hi, I'm Mary Black,
And I'm Emily Lustman.
and we're your instructors for your math class this semester. You are enrolled in a class in the Math Learning Center, and this means that the class is set up a little differently than maybe what you're used to. There won't be any formal instruction in the Math Learning Center like you're used to, maybe from high school or from another kind of class. What we'll do here is each of you has in your possession an assignment sheet with your daily tasks. And as you come into class each day, you will be working on assignments as they're listed there. There are several instructors and student workers that are here for you to ask questions, get help, and assist you in any way. On page 1 of your syllabus at the top, you will see our contact information. Our phone number is there at the top as well as our email address. That email address, mlc@ivcc.edu, will automatically guarantee that Emily and I will both receive the email. And what our practice has been is whoever gets to it first will reply to you, and we'll just copy the other one. So that's just an easy way to get a hold of both of us without having to remember 2 emails. Also on page 1 is your expected course outcomes and a description of the course. And you'll find in that description that this course does not figure into your GPA. It is also not a transfer level course. The course grade will show up on your transcript, but it does not transfer to another institution. Also on that page, you'll see where your grade is coming from. So there's just different assignments that we're going to give you, and we'll get into that later, and that makes up your total points for the course. Now, successful completion of the course means that you have completed all of the course requirements with the minimum grades that we have set, and you've done all of that on or before the last day of classes, before final exams begin. So if you do not have everything done before that last day of class, you will not be taking a final exam, but we will talk more about that as the semester gets going and things start progressing. Finally, at the bottom of page 1, you'll see the grading scale. And our grading scale is a little different than maybe some of the other courses on campus. You are required to pass this course with a C or better in order to move on. So you want to make sure that you are aware of what our grading scale is. So to get an A, you have to have at least a 91%. A B is an 82%, and the lowest C would be a 74.5. So just keep that in mind as you're working through the semester.
On page 2 of your syllabus, you'll see a list of study hints that we put together for you. One of the most important things for this class is to use your syllabus as your order for doing things. You'll be using a computer software called My Math Lab as a part of your homework, and it will have a schedule of events in there for you to complete. However, it does not have all of your assignments, so your syllabus is your go-to place for what you need to do next. We've designed that syllabus as a to-do list or a checklist so that you can check things off as you do them or draw a line through them as they are completed. Each day has its own list of assignments, and those should be worked in order from top to bottom through that list. Your course, if you are in Math 0906 or 0907, is 4 credit hours, which means that you are in class for 4 hours each week. All of your work should not be done in class. You do need to plan on at least a half an hour each day at home to work on your assignments in order to stay on schedule for the class. If you are in Math 1206 or Technical Mathematics, your course is 3 hours each week, and you should also still plan a half an hour each day at home to work on your material. Peer tutoring is available in Building D, Room 201. That is a free resource for students at Ivcc. They have both professional adult tutors and student tutors for a variety of topics, not just math, but you can go there at any time when you're not in class. You do not need to make an appointment, and you can just let them know what you need to get some help on, and they will work with you on that. Also, if you need academic accommodations, if you have had a 504 plan or an IEP in high school, also for a documented physical, psychiatric, or cognitive disability, you would see Tina Hardy. Her office is in Building C, Room 211, and you can stop there to make an appointment to meet with her.
As Emily said, that each course has a required number of credit hours that you're earning, and because of that, you have attendance in class that is required. When you first come to class each day, you are going to sign in at the attendance station. Direction about how to do this will be given to you in the first few days of class. If it doesn't happen day one, it'll happen on day two. But you are expected to sign in and then sign out when your class is over. This is how we keep track of attendance. If you do have issues at sign in or sign out with the program, please grab one of the staff members and we will try to troubleshoot that with you. One of the things to keep in mind with attendance is that if your class meets for 50 minutes, you are expected to be here for 50 minutes. If your class meets for an hour and 15 minutes, we do expect you to be here for the full hour and 15 minutes. We understand emergencies do come up, so if there is something we need to know, for example, if you need to leave early for a doctor's appointment, please just let us know at the beginning of class, and that way we're just aware and we don't question you about where you're going or what's going on. Just communicate with us.
Also, if you need to be absent from class for any reason, again, our contact information is on page 1 of your syllabus. Email is the best way to get a hold of us, but if you do call the phone number that is listed there, we do have voicemail, and so if someone does not answer the phone, we do check those voicemails before we leave for the day.
Midterm for the semester is March the 6th. You do not have a midterm exam or a midterm project, but that is the point in the semester in which you should be halfway done with your course because the semester is halfway done. The last day to withdraw is April 6th. Now, withdrawing from a course can affect your financial aid, and that's across the board regardless of what class you're enrolled in. So before you withdraw from any class, you are going to want to stop by financial aid if you do receive any financial aid, and just make sure that this is not going to have a negative impact on you. We do evaluate your progress and your attendance very regularly. So if we notice that you're missing class or maybe you're not staying for the full time, don't be surprised if you get an email from us. We do try to reach out and make sure everything's okay. We may talk to you in person in class, and that's just something we do to follow up. We want you to have a successful semester, and those are just some of the ways that we try to do that. You do have one conference this semester at midterm, and it is listed in your syllabus. We'll also have reminders posted around the lab, so just be aware of your surroundings, pay attention to the TV screen, pay attention to the whiteboards at the sign-in station, and also at the entrance. That conference can be done in class. You do not need to make an appointment. It takes just a couple minutes. If you come to one of us and initiate the conference on or before its due date, you will get 10 bonus points. Now, it's the easiest extra credit you're ever going to get. So ask for that conference. You get the extra credit whether you're ahead of schedule, on schedule, or behind schedule. That does not impact whether you get the bonus points or not. All you have to do is ask for the conference. Now, if the due date comes and goes and you don't ask for the conference, we will come to you to do the conference, but you won't get the bonus points. So really try to make a point of asking for the conference when you see that it's due. During those conferences, we are going to take a look at your progress in addition to your attendance, but primarily looking at your progress to see, are you ahead of schedule? Are you on schedule? Are you behind schedule? If you're on or ahead of schedule, we're going to just congratulate you, encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, and that'll be that. If you are behind schedule, we're going to set some goals with you, and it's really important that you do everything you can to meet those goals. That may be spending time in tutoring, it might be coming in extra to the Math Learning Center, it may be putting in some extra time at home, but something is going to have to happen in that regard in order for you to catch up. Now, students who cannot complete all of the course requirements before the last day of classes will receive an F if they choose not to withdraw. So when we give you advice towards a withdrawal date, we really are trying to come at it from what we think is best for you. We have been doing this a long time, so if we suggest to you that withdrawing may be your best option, please don't be offended. We just are really trying to give you the best advice that we can. Your assignments are going to come from a variety of places. You are going to have textbook assignments, and you're going to have assignments in the program that we mentioned earlier, My Math Lab, and you're going to have unit tests. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit first about textbook assignments. These assignments are listed on your assignment sheet, and as Emily mentioned earlier, that assignment sheet is where you go for your to-do list, and you do everything in the order that they're listed there. So your textbook assignments are there. You will do those in a notebook or 3-ring binder. We're not picky in terms of how you organize your work, but it does need to be organized. So you want to make sure that on that textbook assignment that you put the section number you're working on and the page numbers at the very least. Some of you will like to write the problem numbers out, but that's not a requirement. But it's much easier for us to check your homework if we have a section number and a page number. Now, when you're doing these textbook assignments, we do ask that you show your work. We do know that there's some problems that don't require a lot of work, so at a minimum, we'd like to see you write down the problem and the answer. You can use a calculator for every assignment, so we understand that some assignments, some problems, you may just have to type something into a calculator, and that's fine, but we do want to at least see the problem and the answer. We will not be taking this homework up from you to grade it. You won't be submitting it or anything like that. However, when you are ready to take a quiz, we are going to be checking that homework, that textbook homework, for completion and for understanding. So it's going to be really important that we have more than just a page of answers. If when we check your homework, we find that we have just a page of answers, we are going to ask you to go back and show us some work, because we don't know that you understand what you're doing if all we have is a page of answers. The second benefit to having the problem and the answers is that your quizzes are open book and open notes. So you can look back at your assignments if you need to in order to complete your quiz. So if you have the problem and the answers, that's much more helpful than just having a page of answers.
Also, for your textbook homework, the answers to odd-numbered questions are found in the back of the textbook. So as you're working through your assignments, make sure that you are checking your answers for accuracy. If you're checking your work and finding that your answers are incorrect, make sure that you speak with one of the instructors or student workers the next time that you're in class so that you can figure out what's going wrong with those problems. In your computer software, My Math Lab, things are going to be set up a little bit differently. For each of those MML, My Math Lab, homework assignments, you must score a 100% before you're able to move on to your next assignment. However, that's not as hard as it sounds, because you're able to go in and redo your problems as many times as you need to until you have that 100%. You also have 3 attempts on each question before it's marked wrong. So if you accidentally type in the wrong number, it's not going to mark it wrong right away. It's just going to have you go back and give it another try. For those homework assignments, you also have a few extra resources available to you. Those are going to be found on the right-hand side in a drop-down menu. One of those is View an Example, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It will pull up a similar problem to the one that you're working on and give you some step-by-step instruction for how to go about solving that problem. You can then close that out and use that information as a tool for the question that you're working on. Another option is Help Me Solve This, which does exactly what it sounds like. It works you through the problem that you currently have. After you go through Help Me Solve This, you will not have received credit for the question that you were given. It will give you a new similar question to complete for credit. You can work the problems in the MML in any order, but you do have to answer all of them and have all of them correct before you are able to move on to the next assignment in My Math Lab. When on your syllabus you get to a quiz, like Mary said, we're going to ask to see your textbook assignments for that section of the chapter that you've been working in. The quizzes are password protected, and they are one of 2 things that you must complete in the Math Learning Center. All of your work for this class can be done pretty much anywhere that you have access to your textbook or a computer with internet. So peer tutoring in the Math Learning Center, at home, the local library, or the school library are all options for that, except for quizzes and unit tests. Those must be completed in the Math Learning Center. For your quiz, it is taken in My Math Lab, and like Mary said, books and notes are allowed as a resource while you are taking that. You have a minimum required grade of an 80% on a quiz. So once you take that, if you have not scored an 80% or higher, we're going to go through that quiz with you and then have you potentially go back and work some problems if there's a concept that you seem to be particularly struggling with, or if you had some minor errors, we'll have you go back in to retake that quiz. If you did score an 80% or higher, We'll still go through what you missed so that we get those errors corrected before you're ready for the unit test, but then you are able to move on to your next topic.
The last type of assignment that you will have will be unit tests, and these tests are paper pencil. We like to call them the old-fashioned way. So you will ask one of us to pull a test for you once you have completed all of the textbook assignments, all of the My Math Lab assignments, and the quizzes for that unit. When you do that, these tests are not open book, open notes. So you want to make sure you're very comfortable with the material before you start a test. You are certainly welcome to ask any and all questions that you have before we pull it for you. With your unit tests, we do require that you get a 75%. So if you recall your My Math Lab homework assignments, the minimum score was 100%. As Emily mentioned in the quizzes, your minimum required score is an 80%. The unit tests are a 75%. You will need to take the test as many times as it takes for you to get a minimum score of 75%. Now, when you take a test and we grade it, regardless of your score, we are going to show you what you did right as well as what you did wrong and go over that test with you. If you have a 75% or higher, then you are able to move on and begin working in the next unit. If you do not have that 75%, we are going to go over your mistakes with you. We are going to encourage you to review a little bit more, and then you may retake the test. Now, each time you have to take a test, your maximum score would decrease. So, for example, if you take a test and you end up with a 65%, that does not meet the 75% minimum we require, so we're going to go over that test with you, and then you would retake it. Now, suppose on that retake, you get a 95%. We are going to congratulate you on doing so well on that second try, but because it's your second attempt, you can't get the score of a 95, you'll get a score of a 91. The 91% is still an A, so it's possible to have to retake a test and still get an A in the class. That is not a completely lost cause if you have to retake a test. Now, anytime you retake, the number of retakes influences your maximum score. So your first attempt on the test is 100%. The second attempt would be a 91%. The third attempt would be an 82%. The fourth and beyond would be a 75% if you pass it with a 75 or higher. So it just depends on what retake you're on and what your score is on that test. When you are in possession of a test, whether it's to be taking the test or reviewing a test, your cell phone must be put away. It's really the only time in the course that we require the cell phone to be put away. We don't mind you having it out. We do ask it's on vibrate, but when you are in possession of a test paper, that cell phone has to be put away. So it either needs to be in a backpack, in a purse, set aside somewhere where it's really not accessible to you while you're taking a test. We appreciate your time and attention. We are going to now spend some time with individual courses and go over things that are very course specific. This is a lot of information to take in. We don't expect you to have it all mastered right now or even today, but as you go through the course and you go through the semester, if there is something that you do have questions about, please feel free to ask. Don't sit and struggle. Don't sit and wonder, what am I supposed to do next? Ask. We are here to help. We are your biggest cheerleaders, so please take advantage of us while we're here.